Hello there. Now I have finally pushed open the door and can step into the cabin. It feels gratifying to be out front and be able to make a fire and get warm. I notice it's colder here than at home. A rough estimate is that it is around minus 18 degrees Celsius, just below 0 Fahrenheit. A little light doesn't hurt, so I light the kerosene lantern. I use a lamp oil with paraffin instead of kerosene because it is odorless. The disadvantage is that it is extremely toxic, and if you have children with you, you have to keep an eye on it. I'm lucky because I left firewood in the cabin so I can make it until the evening. However, I have to chop wood so I can make it through the night, but first I have to turn up the heat because I feel the cold seeping through my clothes because I am more still. Therefore, I boil water so that I have hot coffee to drink. Despite the cold and all the work, I am happy and euphoric. I'm finally here after several months, and it's always exciting to see if any animals have taken over the cabin. Rats had made themselves at home once a long time ago. They had made such a fuss that I thought the rat was bigger than me. I asked a friend for help, who is good at solving all kinds of problems, but it turned out to be a lot of little voles. It was lucky because otherwise the cottage would not have been the same. It probably wouldn't have looked the same either, but the ventilation wouldn't have been wrong. Coffee is never wrong. I have with me lusketter that I baked for December the 13th when we celebrated Lucia. It is a wheat bread with saffron and raisins that I think is very good. It has been a tradition in Sweden for hundreds of years. The yellow color is to illuminate and keep the shy devil away. But I don't think it works that well. There are those who have called me a devil, but lusketter have the opposite effect on me. I am drawn to them, but I may not be a true devil. It feels wonderful to have hot coffee and a bun so I have energy for everything to be done. There must be cleaning, snow shoveling, wood splitting and fires. The list can be made longer. Passing the time will not be a problem. Despite everything that has to be done, I feel a great joy. It is mentally stimulating to be in the forest despite all the work. It is a meditation in itself. You let go of all your everyday chores, and you get to do something completely different, and it's much more fun. You have to experience it yourself to understand. After all the hard work, it's finally time to eat. It will be collared sausage with graham buns that I have baked myself. The sausage is flavored with cheese, and that makes it very good. It is much tastier than snails in an Italian restaurant, which I have not tasted. I always have a knife with me, when I'm in the cabin or hiking in the woods. It is very important to handle them safely. Apparently, there are a number of accidents involving knives, and it is mainly in certain suburbs of larger cities. Oddly enough, it is not the person with the knife who gets injured, but a friend next to him who has to go to the ambulance with the knife in his body. Most of the time, they are barely adults, so they probably didn't learn to handle a knife when they were small. When I was little, we played with knives and we rarely hurt ourselves. It allowed us to deal with them when we are adults. As far as I know, there aren't that many dangerous animals to protect against or the need to carve wood to make a fire. There are houses everywhere in the suburbs, so the need for a knife should be small. After the meal, the hard work continues. The most important thing is to keep the fire alive. Time flies when you're having fun, but I have to get some wood chopped before I go to bed for the night. That's my biggest concern right now. It's no problem to sleep in the cold with my sleeping bag, but it's not fun to get up and everything is frozen. It's time for coffee, so I get energy for all the work. After coffee I have to go straight out and split the wood, but it's hard to catch up because of all the fun that needs to be done. I must brave the darkness and make my way to the wood. Luckily the moonlight does, so I see exactly what I need to see. It is a constant job to guard the fire, but it is also calming. Seeing the flames and hearing the crackling calms you down. It becomes a security. You know that as long as you hear the crackling, you have heat. It's been a long time since I had this much fun. All problems that felt big feel small. You get a different perspective on life. You find joy in the smallest things, as much joy as when you have been in a city and are just coming home. I feel like I need to be in the cottage more often. This is where I can relax. I warm up a special wine with a strong seasoning of herbs. It is tradition to drink this wine at Christmas and especially on the 13th of December. You like to have gingerbread with it, and it is common to have chopped almonds and raisins in the wine. Despite all the fun that needs to be done, the evening has come and it's time to go to bed. I put a couple of benches together and lay out a sleeping mat. In a small bag I have a pillow. It is difficult to understand that the pillow fits in the small bag. Finally, I lay out the sleeping bag. It's cozy to crawl into it. When the morning comes, it's time to get up. I have slept incredibly well except that I got up once an hour and put wood in the stove. I had probably drunk a little too much coffee and wine, which meant that I had to get up a few times and head out into the cold and dark. When it's bright enough, it's time to walk home in snowfall and -2 degrees Celsius, 28 Fahrenheit or 271 Kelvin. I had a lot of fun and need to plan another trip as soon as I can. Don't forget to subscribe and click the like button. Bye.